Hey, what's up, guys? We're back, and we're going to be doing a review real fast for the Iaquinta versus Cowboy card, and we actually did pretty solid on this event overall. Kind of was, a couple of decisions I thought weren't right. I sound like a broken record with that, but, can't complain. Had a good night overall. We hit the parlay of the week, the most confident pick, and, I'm going to be doing the breakdown video for UFC 237 right after this, so hopefully we can hit two in a row, but the first fight of the night, Cole Smith against Mitch Gagnon, got this one incorrect, and, kind of a sloppy fight. I mean, it was a fun back-and-forth fight. Cole Smith is aggressive. He's kind of fun to watch the way that he fights, but don't think he's very good. He's stiff. He's not a great athlete, in my opinion, and Gagnon was the one that put him in, like, the bigger moments, like where he dropped him. He almost had a submission, but he just had a lot of lulls of activity. Cole Smith was able to rack up some cage control time, land some punches, and he was the rightful decision winner in that fight. And for Mitch Gagnon, I don't know if we're ever going to see him again in the UFC. I mean, that was a tough loss, especially coming off that layoff and against a guy like Cole Smith. So, Cole Smith seems like he does have a good attitude, like he has a good mindset to succeed, but I just don't know. I'm not really sold on the guy. I have to see him get a couple wins in the UFC and just kind of show me a little more, because at this point, I don't really know if he's going to stick around long term. And up next, Arjan Bhullar against Juan Adams. Actually had a play on this fight, and I thought that Juan Adams deserved to win the fight. He landed 40 more significant strikes. I mean, the third highest differential on the whole card. And, Bhullar got a couple takedowns, but he wasn't doing anything with the top position. I mean, in my opinion, when, a fight on the feet is fairly competitive, but one guy is clearly winning in Juan Adams, and he's landing some decently big shots. And then someone else, they're just taking someone down, holding them down, and losing the striking. I tend to favor the guy that's doing the damage. But, that's not a decision where you could say it was a brutal robbery, even though, in my opinion, I feel like Adams deserved to win. But, Arjan Bhullar got the win. He moved on. It was the last fight on his contract, so now he's going to be, trying to campaign for some more money, I guess, more opportunities. But, man, I mean, in my opinion, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how the UFC is going to look at that. Because to me, I mean, I don't see Arjan being, a title contender. I don't think he has necessarily a very fun style. But he does have that Indian, thing in his back pocket with the Nation of India, DC. So he has some tie-ins where I could see some value in him, but I don't know, man. I don't know if he's going to get exactly what he wants or what he thinks he's going to get, but he is 3-1 in the UFC. That's a solid record, and he defeated Juan Adams according to the judges, so you got to give him that, seal of approval there. That was a big win for him, probably the biggest win of his career, but for Juan Adams, still obviously very raw. And, I feel like, I don't know, it's, during this week I saw, a few more things where it seemed like he wasn't taking it as seriously as you would like to see someone take it, kind of like a John Vellante type of personality type guy. So that's a little bit, you never know if a guy like that's going to reach their full potential, but I still have, faith that Juan Adams could potentially be a solid fighter for sure. Then up next, Matt Sales versus Kyle Nelson, and, fun competitive fight. Matt Sales, the first round, went out there, almost got the finish real quick. Kyle Nelson was able to get back in the fight in that second round, locked in a rear naked choke that, I thought it was over, man. I thought Matt Sales was going to tap out, but, stayed calm, showed composure, found his way out of that choke. And then in the third round, Kyle Nelson shot a pretty bad takedown and got submitted there. So Matt Sales, that was a big win for Matt Sales. He had lost his UFC debut after he had a lot of hype coming in. It was kind of a controversial decision, so it was good to see him bounce back, get that win there. And for Kyle Nelson, I kind of hope that they keep him around, because Matt Sales, in my opinion, is a solid prospect, and he had to fight Carlos Diego Ferreira in his debut, so that's two really tough guys, and he had his moments against both guys. He has a fun style to watch, so it would be a bit of a shame if they cut Kyle Nelson. So I hope that he gets to stay around, especially since this was his first fight at 145. So, yeah, man, Kyle Nelson looked good. Matt Sales looked good. And you would think Matt Sales is probably going to get a top 20, 25 opponent next. So if he gets another win, you might see him with the name on, behind his name. So he's, climbing towards that top 15. And we'll see if Kyle Nelson can bounce back, get some wins in the UFC. Up next, Nordine Taleb versus Kyle Popolik, and yeah, man, I mean, Nordine Taleb just kind of dominated the fight on the feet. Didn't take a lot of risks and just won a range striking fight. And, Kyle Prepolek, he showed a lot of heart. He was coming forward. He was fighting hard, but just was outgunned there. And, yeah, man, so we're going to see Taleb, come back, fight a real 170, probably fight a guy that's, around the top 25, top 30. And we'll see if he could put some wins together to get his name, close back to that top 15. And, I would imagine that Prepolek's going to move down to 155, and we'll see if he could do well there. I mean, I don't think that he's necessarily a bad fighter. And I'm next with Vince Morales against Ayman Zahabi. I actually had a bet here on Vince Morales, so I was pretty excited about the outcome of this fight. Vince Morales went in there and got it done, man. He kind of beat up Ayman Zahabi, in my opinion. I saw some people saying that they thought it was a close fight, but to me, man, I feel like Vince Morales kind of dominated that fight. He landed the better volume, the better punches. Was moving forward. That third round, he really beat up on Ayman. So, yeah, man, I mean, big win for Vince Morales. I just think he's tougher than Ayman Zahabi. Ayman, it was weird. I thought he was going to come in with a better game plan, try to use some range striking, go for takedowns, and, it was just a 3-round striking match where he was just getting outstruck. So, that might be it for the Ayman Zahabi experiment. The Zahabi brother in the UFC, 2 consecutive losses. This one coming after a pretty substantial layoff. So, you have to wonder if he's going to get another chance, and that's a big win for Vince Morales. He came in the UFC, had a very tough competitive fight with Song Yadong, and now he comes out here and wins as an underdog against Ayman Zahabi in his home country. So, proved his worth there, and I'm sure he's going to be getting a solid opponent next. So, good win there for Vince Morales. Up next, Macy Chiasson against Sarah Moras, and yeah, man, I mean, this fight started off decent for Sarah. She was able to get a takedown, probably put some fear into some people that parlayed up Macy, She even moved to side control, but, Macy was able to reverse. When she got on top, she landed some big shots. You could tell it really affected Sarah, and Sarah wanted nothing to do with the striking. She was shooting right away as the round started, and really obvious shots. In the second round, she did that again. Macy was able to defend it, get on top, and she closed the show, so... Macy's looking like the real deal. She's looking like a real good prospect. And Sarah, 5-5 now. I think she's probably going to be cut, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, maybe she'll get another fight. Who knows? But I would say her time is probably done in the UFC. And for Macy, I would think she's probably going to get a top 15 fighter next. So you got to keep an eye out for Macy Chiasson in that division for sure. And then up next, Andrew Sanchez gets Marc-Andre Barriault. Man, I mean... I picked Marc-Andre Barriault. That was one of the worst picks I've had on this card for sure because Marc-Andre just got dominated in this fight. I mean, in the second round, it did look like he kind of buzzed Andrew, maybe even had him in trouble, but that was really the only success he had. And Andrew Sanchez was able to take him down, kind of control the pace on the feet and just win a dominant decision. So props to Andrew Sanchez. Did what he's supposed to do against a debuting guy and took out a guy that had a lot of, hype coming in, 2-division champion at TKO. So, Andrew Sanchez is getting back some of that, shine that he lost a little bit when he had those losses to, Anthony Smith, those losses to Ryan James. Now he's won back-to-back fights again, and he's looking like maybe he's going to climb back into contention. So, good job by Andrew Sanchez, kind of the weather the storm, come back in his career, and hopefully Marc-Andre Barriault can, come back and get some wins in the UFC because it looked like the crowd really liked him. They were cheering him really loud, and, hopefully he can, come back and address some of those issues. Then next, Walt Harris gets Sergey Spivak, and man, I'm happy that I switched my pick on this fight. Shit, I mean, I had Sergey on the Monday video when I was watching tape, and then I told you guys on Friday at that post-weigh-in breakdown video that Sergey to me looked like it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this guy just didn't trade it all for this fight. He just showed up and was saying, like, fuck it, I'm going to come in here, take this first L, and I'm in the UFC, or what? Because it looked like he was in horrendous shape to me, and he just went in there and got hit, felt the power, and just, curled up and quit fight, like Bob Sapp style. So, yeah, man, I mean, I don't know what his thinking was there. I don't know if he did come in confident and just felt the power and was done. But, yeah, man, I mean, when you look at his body from that fight, that weigh-in and the fight, and then at his body at other fights, it didn't look in shape to me. So that's why I changed the pick. And glad I did, because he looked horrendous in that fight. And for Walt Harris, he did what he was supposed to do. Took that guy out in less than a minute. And on to bigger and better things for him. He's going to get a top 15 opponent. He called out Justin Willis, called out Oleinik. I would, love to see either one of those fights. This guy's a big athletic guy that can knock you out. So props to Walt Harris there for going in there and getting it done. And up next, Merab Dvalishvili, who was, he was part of the parlay of the week, and dominant victory there for Merab against Brad Katonah. Just was able to take him down and just control him on the ground, beat him up. Took him down over and over. Had some pretty flashy technique on the feet. And even won the stand-up, in my opinion. I mean, Katonah did nothing in this fight to me. I mean, Merab was just able to clearly dominate. And Merab's a problem, man. I mean, that guy has an endless gas tank. He's getting better at controlling people on the mat. He has some pretty nice ground and pound. His striking is, fairly dynamic. He's explosive. It is a little wild. And, against the upper echelon, I don't know if he could be striking like that. But, he's a guy that I think could contend with a lot of guys. Like I said, he beat Ricky Simone for basically 3 rounds before knocking himself out, who I think is probably a top 10 fighter in the division, skills-wise. And, 135 is it's like a lion's den over there, man. It's killer's row. But, yeah, Merab looks like a real prospect. That guy looks like he can jump into a top 15 matchup next and, look right at home, perform just fine. I mean, really impressive. He's looking really, really good. And for Brad Katonah, that's one loss. That's his first career loss. He felt what elite grappling feels like, and I'm sure he'll be back from it. He's still a fairly skilled guy. He seems like a smart guy, and he's probably going to learn, assess, and come back. So, I'm not ready to say Brad Katonah's not a good fighter either. So, great win for Merab, and hopefully Katonah can come back, get some wins, and, jump back towards that top 15 as well. But up next, the other part of the parlay of the week, Shane Burgos gets Cub Swanson. And, man, one judge gave this fight 30-27 to Swanson, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous scorecard, man. I don't know. I thought Shane Burgos won 30-27 and, at least 2-1 clearly. So, I don't know what that guy was watching to give Cub all 3 rounds in that fight, which is just, I don't know, but Shane Burgos had a good performance there. He just outstruck Cub. He was faster. He was landing the straight punches, more impactful shots, and landing more volume. So, yeah, Cub put on a decent performance. He landed some shots. He was, going back and forth with the young guy, but didn't have enough to get the win there. Shane Burgos got the win. Big win for Shane Burgos, now he just beat a guy who's in, the top 10 of the division. And he's probably going to be getting another, top 10 matchup next. So, if Shane Burgos could rack up some wins, we could be hearing his name in title contention coming soon. But, he didn't have one of those performances like, oh, wow, we're going to see him, fighting for the title soon. He didn't awe anybody, in my opinion. But he did what he had to do. He got the win. He got it done. And Cub Swanson, now that's 4 consecutive losses. That's tough, man, at this point in his career. So, we'll see what he wants to do. But, obviously he could still compete against lower level guys. I just don't know if he can beat anyone in the top 15 anymore. Then up next, the co-main event, one of the worst co-main events of the year, man. Derek Brunson, Elias Theodorou, and man, Derek Brunson got the win, but shit, man, I wanted to bet on Derek Brunson. Full disclosure, I didn't do it, but I was really close when I saw that at Pick'em. I was just really close to betting Derek Brunson, and I thought he was going to knock this guy out in the first round. I really did, Watching up the week lead up, I was hearing him say he's training the Black Zillions, and there's just a clear, an advantage. Elias just isn't dangerous, and Brunson is the better athlete. He's more explosive. He has the power, and he has the takedowns. So, he went in there, and he got it done, as sloppy as it looked, where his striking just looked terrible. Elias' striking looked even worse. And, kind of an embarrassing performance, if you ask me, from both guys. Elias, man, didn't do anything in that fight. I don't know what his game plan was, really. I don't know what he was trying to accomplish in there. But, really didn't enjoy that fight, to be honest with you. But Derek Brunson did what he had to do, I guess, to get back on track. Maybe that'll change his mindset, and he can kind of get back to how he used to fight. Because, dude, if that was Derek Brunson that fought Lyoto Machida or Ed Herman or Dan Kelly, all these guys he knocked out in the first round, Sam Alvey, he's knocking Elias Theodorou out cold. Elias just proved to me, in my opinion, that he's just not on that, he's not on that level, man. He's not a top 15 guy. So, yeah, just not a good fight from either guy there, in my opinion. Then up next, Cowboy Cerrone. I mean, if you want to talk about a good fight, this is a good fight right here with Cowboy Cerrone against Iaquinta. And, man, I mean, Al was really tough. I actually thought he won the first 2 rounds. Even though it was arguable, Cowboy could have potentially won one of those 2 rounds. But, then Cowboy took over the fight the last 3 rounds and really beat up Al bad. Dropped them multiple times. It looked like at the end of the fight, that ground and pound really hurt Al. Those leg kicks really hurt Al, and he had to be helped out of the cage. I mean, that guy has no quit in him at all. But down with Cerrone, man, I mean, that guy is just a bad motherfucker, dude. I mean, he keeps on coming. 36 years old. Now he's won, 3 fights in a row now. He beat, I think he won 3 fights in a row. It might only be 2 fights in a row, but no, 3 fights in a row, yeah. Mike Perry, Hernandez, Iaquinta. Iaquinta was ranked 4th in the division, so he went out there, he called out Conor, called for a title shot. I think Conor is much more likely than a title shot, but in reality, he'll probably have to fight someone else, Justin Gaethje. Trying to think of another matchup for him. Just another guy near the top of that division. Maybe even like a Tony Ferguson. I don't think that would happen. But, just a fight like that to get him, one more fight to get a title shot, in my opinion. But, I mean, he's looking really good. He's really impressive. I mean, that was a dominant win. He just took it away from Iaquinta and just won it at the end. And he even said it in his post-fight that, in those first 2 rounds, and Al was putting that big pressure on him, that the old Cowboy would have quit. So, big props to Cowboy. He's had another career renaissance and is looking as good as ever. Dad Cowboy's killing it. So, good for him, man. And make sure to comment, like, subscribe on this. Tell me what you guys did on the betting. If you guys played the part of the week, how much you won. And, make sure to check out the breakdown video for UFC 237 coming up right after this. So, I'm going to be doing that right after, dropping it probably in a couple hours. So, make sure to watch that one after you watch this video. And hopefully we can catch those bets for 237. And thanks for watching, guys.